Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. I'm your host, David Tear, where I've been featuring my personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. Today I'm up to song number 2725, and that one is Hot Rod Lincoln by Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen. This was released in 1972. Their version went to number 9, I believe, and this is the single, and it was released on their album entitled "Lost in the Ozone." So that was Commander Cody. But this song, and here's a picture of them, by the way. I learned something kind of interesting about them. I'll get into them later. But anyway, let's just go back to the song. This song actually has a very long history. It was first another version of it, just called a hot rod race, was released in 1950. That was by was Archie Shibley. I'll show you his picture. It was a country song originally, before even rock and roll. So it was a country hit in 1950 by this guy Arthur Shibley. Was just called Hot Rod Race. I think the words were changed a little bit too. Then it became hot. It got turned into Hot Rod Lincoln by this guy here, Charlie Ryan. He was the first to record it, rewrote it as Hot Rod Lincoln, and performed and recorded it in 1955. So it was an early rockabilly hit. I guess he kind of turned it into rockabilly, which was an old form of rock and roll. And finally, Commander Cody had. Oh, actually, there was one more hit version. This guy here in 1960 was redone by Johnny Bond, another country singer. So it was kind of a country hit early on. But then, in 1972, Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen did their version of it. And I think I might have heard one of the other versions maybe once. And I didn't like it as much as Commander Cody's. I mean, Commander Cody does a great job with this song. He does it really fast, and it's kind of appropriate for this song because it's about a hot rod race where this guy's driving like 120, 130 miles an hour on I guess it's Route 66 out of San Pedro. So I may as well tell you what this song's about. It's about a hot rod race by a teenage hoodlum. I mean, I guess he goes out and drives. They don't say who owned the car. I was assumed it was his dad. I assumed he was just kind of a wild teenager out with his friends, hot rodding like a lot of other people did in the 50s and 60s. And he wants to show off this powerful muscle car he has, this hot rod Lincoln. So he goes out with his friends out of San Pedro. I used to live there, by the way. I lived in San Pedro for about 2 years when I worked at Northrop Grumman. It's a nice little town near LA, not a whole lot there really. But it's by, he gives reference to other places in Southern California like Grapevine Hill. Grapevine Hill is another place right near LA. And I guess, he's out hot rodding with his friends one night, and he just wants to show off and see how fast he can go. So he's flooring it, going 120 on Route 66. And, he's being a daredevil. All his friends get scared. They say things like the telephone pole looks like a picket fence. I mean, first they're just trying to outrace everybody else. He does that very early. He outraces a Cadillac, but then he still wants to see how fast he can go. And finally, the cops catch up to him at the very end of the song. The cops are after my hot rod Lincoln. They even play the siren of the police car. And then, of course, they arrest him and they throw him in jail. And he has to call his dad. He calls him his pappy. I called my pappy to throw my bail, and he said, "Son, you're gonna drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that hot rod Lincoln." That's how the song ends. It's a catchy song, and I like it. Even though I'm not a daredevil like this guy was in the song. I did used to like to drive kind of fast. If you want to know the truth, my driver's license, I can't even get car insurance anymore because I'm not a very good driver myself. I'm not a daredevil, but I had too many accidents. Just local accidents where I'd hit like a gas tank, or sometimes I'd, have little fender benders with parked cars, and I guess I had too many of those. So my insurance rate went sky high, and finally they denied it to me. Hopefully, I'll be able to get it back in again in a few months. But meanwhile, I'm just taking Uber to go everywhere, which is fine with me. I'm helping the environment by not driving. It's just that, here in Nevada and, most of the western part of the country, you kind of need a car to go anywhere, unfortunately. Cars are part of our culture, and I think they've been big part of American culture, probably for the last 100 years. And I think pretty soon we're going to have to stop driving. Maybe we'll have self-driving cars that take us everywhere we want to go. We probably will, but I think even better would be to have good public transportation like they do in Europe to go anywhere you want to go. I just came back from Copenhagen about a month ago. There weren't too many cars there. Of course, cars aren't very practical in Europe because most of it's very old and the streets are very narrow and you can't really drive around there. But anyway, enough preaching about cars. But anyway, it's a good song. It's a good, fast-paced song. Another song it reminds me of a little bit is there was a song. There were a lot of car songs in the 50s and 60s. There was another one called Beep Beep by the Playmates. That one didn't make my list. It probably should have, but that's another song that's a little similar to this one because it's about a hot rod race. This guy's it's kind of a comedy song. This guy's driving a Nash Rambler and he outraces a Cadillac. And it starts out really slow, but then it speeds up more and more. Finally, by the end of the song, he's going 130, and then he yells to the guy in the caddy, how do I get my car out of second gear? Funny song. Kind of like seven little girls sitting in the back seat. I probably should have. That one did make my list, by the way. That one came in at number 2914. Anyway, enough of that. And if you want to know how acclaimmusic.net ranked Hot Rod Lincoln by Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen, they ranked it at number 7842. So a lot lower than I did. I think it's a really good song. And they didn't rank the other versions. And I didn't, but the other versions didn't make my list either. But this is a good song, and that's why I put it on my list. And I guess I want to say, before I get off, I guess I want to say a little bit about the band that recorded it, Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen. This was their only top 40 hit, I think. I'll tell you what their other hit songs were. So they only had 4 Hot 100 hits, it turns out. Hot Rod Lincoln was their first. That was in 1972, went to number 9. After that, he had Beat Me Daddy, 8 to the Bar. That went to number 81. I don't know what 8 to the bar means, by the way. I know it was a slang expression in the 40s and 50s. I know that the Andrews Sisters used it in their hit song Boogie Woogie Beautiful Boy, but I never knew what 8 to the bar meant. Maybe one of you guys can tell me, or I guess I could just look it up. But anyway, that was their second hit. Then in 1973, they had Smoke, Smoke, Smoke That Cigarette, which went to number 94. I do know this song. I sang it once at this camp I went to. It's a funny song, and they didn't record the original version. I believe the original version was a country hit from the 1940s. And it's a little ironic because this was way before the Surgeon General came up with a report that smoking was dangerous. I think a lot of people knew it was bad even before the Surgeon General said it caused cancer. So, the song Smoke, Smoke, Smoke is about smoking yourself to death and going to the Golden Gate in St. Peter, telling St. Peter, I got to have another cigarette. Kind of a funny song, but anyway. And then their last hit was called Don't Let Go. That came out in 1975, and that one went to number 56. So those were the hits for Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen. One more thing I want to say about them. I didn't know this until today. I just looked this up, but they were formed in 1967 in my the town I was born in, Ann Arbor, Michigan. They're from Ann Arbor. And in case you guys haven't been to Ann Arbor, I really like it. Maybe I have a lot of personal reasons for liking it. I was born there, lived there till about age 4, and then I went back there as an undergrad. I went to the University of Michigan. So I have a lot of nostalgia for Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is where these guys were from, as well as Bob Seger, by the way, and many other famous musicians. Anyway, that concludes my feature on Hot Rod Lincoln by Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen. Thank you. Gotta go through all these pictures. Thank you for watching. Rock on, and I'll see you guys next time.